All right, what's up, everyone? It is the night before the October SAT, and I have had a pretty insanely busy day today, but it's gonna just decided to do a kind of last minute stream. I wasn't really planning on doing a stream for Asia and Europe, but I feel like I've just been behind on communications with Discord, with my course and everything. So I'm just kind of pretty crazy day, but wrapping it up right now. Got home, got everything settled. Still have some more things to do, but just gonna do a quick stream and see if anyone drops in. If you guys have any questions, just go ahead, say hi in chat, send your questions over. And for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to just focus on Discord because I'm pretty behind on Discord. There might have been some chats, but I wasn't really able to look at it basically all day today. So I'm gonna catch up on it starting now. All right, and so there we go. Okay, and this is the yes, I'm very behind right now on this. Okay, was I able to even do this? This is just okay. So Cohen did this. Cohen did this. Okay, cool. Wait, where's Cohen? All right, I need to look for. Again, if you're here, just say hi. Let me know you're here, and I'll answer any questions that's on your mind. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go through Discord and then probably Reddit afterwards. Oh, what? How come I didn't see the chat till just now? Oh, I see. Your chat got hidden. My bad. That's actually my fault. Let me try to change that. So, hey, Obum, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. I just saw your chat. Obum, how are you feeling about the October SAT? Where are you right now? That seems like a Nigerian name. Is that a Nigerian name? Are you in Nigeria right now? And how are you feeling about the October SAT? Chris. Okay. Interesting. All right. So no questions, anybody. If you're here, you can just say hi. For now, I'm just gonna be answering questions in the server because I very much am behind on today's chats. Okay. You sent the question? Okay. Obum, I'll come back to that in a second. What the heck? Spalm? Spalm? Dude, what the heck? What is this word? Spalm? Spasm? Spasm. There we go. All right, got my word for Wordle, and okay. So where did you send? Where did you send it? Okay, you sent it to general. I guess I can come back to that in a sec. Okay, I'll save this for later, and I'll go to your question. I'm assuming you sent it to general, so I'm looking at general now. Oh, Obum, there you are. Let's see. All right, so this is a pretty. So I think you're just asking me how you would solve this, but the sort of basic thing to realize is you are supporting the journalist's claim, and right now I can't really. Is there a highlight extension for Google Chrome? I want to see if there's something for Google Chrome. All right, I'll try using this, okay? Hopefully I don't have to restart Chrome. Okay. Now, where is this highlighter? Browsing history, what the hell? I don't know why they need that, but okay. Huh? Okay, I guess it doesn't work. So remove. All right, I'll come back to this. Anyway, let me just quickly explain. So the general flow for a question like this, all right, is you read this thing, right, and you just identify the transitions and you see what it's generally talking about, and then you're trying to support the journalist's claim. Then you have to find the journalist's claim. So there's a journalist here. According to an arts journalist, later in the career of Anweiser, sought to remedy this deficiency. Okay, so this is the main clause, okay, the independent clause of the claim. He sought to remedy this deficiency. What is the deficiency, though? Well, that is a pronoun right here. So we're going to go and look back at that pronoun. The deficiency is the fewness of the works by African artists in exhibitions, even though New York is supposed to be one of the best places to view world, as an African, art, right? So you're trying to find African artists, but there is a deficiency of African artists, okay, in the exhibitions. So he is trying to remedy the deficiency of African artists in the exhibitions in New York. So what does that mean? He is trying to increase African artist representation in New York exhibitions later in his career. Not by focusing only on modern African artists, but showing how the work of modern African artists fit into a larger context of global modern art and art history. This is our claim. Pretty complex claim. It's actually a lot of, if I kind of rank this, maybe not, if you were to give me 10 random directly support or weakens questions, and I'm looking at the claim here, right? And I compare all the claims between 10 random questions that you've given me, I bet that this claim is probably the second or first, but probably the second longest one out of 10, maybe the first longest one out of 10, as in the longest one in terms of just like number of grammatical parts, right? This is our, it's a freaking long claim. It's a long claim, right? So this is our main clause here, but then this is some context, and then this clause is actually referring to this whole idea over here, and then it's showing us it's comparing and contrasting two different ways of doing it. So it's a lot of ideas in this one claim. But once you digest it all, you should be able to see it. because you want to defend, you want to make sure that this claim is fully defended by these answers. And let me actually just remind myself. Anweser in Germany organized a Ghanaian sculptor's work. Cool. And this was devoted, yeah, it was large. That sounds really cool. Now, the problem here is maybe it's supposed to be focused on New York, but no, this doesn't necessarily focus on New York. So here we have, he has a retrospective of an African sculptor, and it was large. Okay, this definitely supports the sought to remedy this deficiency part. Okay, but it doesn't really match up with the not by focusing solely on modern African artists, but showing how their work fits into the larger global context of modern art and art history. And this just says largest, so it's hard to say that this is supported by this. Confidence, low. Confidence, medium. In the exhibition, post-war, art between the Pacific and the Atlantic in 1945 to 1965, Anweser and Siegel brought works by African artists together with pieces by major figures from the US and Mexico for this thing. Now this is cool because we get the African artists, like A says African artists, and we're trying to remedy the deficiency, but it also mentions how it's not only African artists, which is here, US and Mexico, and we also get larger context of global modern art and art history, which is over here, post-war, 1945, 1965. So over here on B, I'm feeling pretty confident, right? Then we look at this, all right, so this gives us art history for this is actually not art history. This is just straight up history. African was independence. Let me just double check. And this influenced the artists of the periods. Okay, this one's interesting because this one shows partly, it does talk about African artists. That's good. But does it show how it fits in the larger context of global modern art and art history? And that one is kind of iffy because it's really focused on African movements after Europe. Okay, so this is a little sketchier over here. You know what it also doesn't do? It doesn't have the, not by focusing solely on modern African artists, because it doesn't connect it to other non-African artists the same way that B does. So B feels more like it's supposed to be the correct answer. But already you can actually tell from A and B and C, these are all quite similar. And you're really just having to remember all the different parts of this very long claim while you're sifting through A, B, C, D. Now, I think D is relatively easy to eliminate. Actually, D, this is really focused on photography. And so you can actually eliminate A and D after it all because it focuses only on, like a specific medium or a specific artist. This is more, this is larger in scale, but then when you are looking at this whole thing, then you should eventually end up choosing B because this is the one that matches the best to all of these parts of this claim. It's a lot of work, actually. This is a lot of work. I would say, out of 27 questions, I wouldn't prioritize this question like number 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. It'll be probably close to like priority number 22, 23, because it's just a lot of work, I think most people who are scoring 650 to 700, they should be able to get B and C in 50-50 in maybe 1 minute and 40-ish seconds. I'm just kind of making that up right now, but that sounds about reasonable. Maybe a little faster, 1 minute 20, 1 minute 40 seconds, and you're 50-50 between B and C, and you guess one, right? I think for most people who are 650 to 750, man, you're just trying to do all this juggling in real time. Honestly, to be totally frank, I mean, just to eliminate C and choose B, I mean, that might take another minute, that honestly might take another minute and 30 seconds because you're going to be tempted to reread A. And so you're going to reread A, and then you reread B, and then you reread C, and then you reread D, and then you're going to come back to B. Oh, bro, that's going to take another minute and 30 seconds. So that means at that point, you're already over 3 minutes just to get it down to B. And that's why I'm saying this one for people who are, 650 to 700, this is not one that you prioritize until maybe you're done with 21 other ones that you're sure that you can get right. This is not an easy one to eliminate. So don't prioritize this so much is what I'm saying, unless you're 750, in which case if you're 750 you actually need to get that one right fast. That's a different, now we're playing a different game. Main obstacle will be mod 2 comprehension questions. And for vocab, for vocab questions, as I always talk about in my actual real-time solving streams, just predict the answer, because you don't have to know 4 out of 4 words to get the right answer. You don't need to know 4 out of 4 words. You just need to know what the word is supposed to be. Okay, so if you predict the answer, like you actually just physically cover the right side of the page and just look at the left side of the page and be like, what is the answer supposed to say? Okay, you're going to use that prediction, and then you're going to look at ABCD. And out of ABCD, you actually might not know 2 of the words, right? But a lot of times the SAT intentionally puts really hard words into the answer choices, even though those really hard words are not the correct answer. So the crazy thing is, a lot of times if you just predict the correct answer, you look at A and B and they're like really hard words, but D, which is like a moderately hard word, you actually know that one. That one actually logically matches up. As long as you make a prediction. But most kids, they don't make a prediction. So you know what they do? They look at A and they're like, oh God, I don't know that word. They look at B, it's like, oh God, I don't know that word. They look at C, it's like, I know that word. It must not be right. And also it sounds weird because it's like obvious. It's like obviously wrong. Then they look at D, and that's actually the correct answer. But it's like, I know that word, but it can't be this, right? Because it's too easy. And then they look at the 2 wrong words and they're like, it has to be one of these. And then you 50-50 it. It's like so stupid. It's like you're choosing the hard thing just because you think you don't know the answer. But how do you know if you don't know the answer? You just try to make a prediction. You make the prediction. And if you genuinely don't know the answer, then yeah, just guess. But more often than not, you will know what the answer is supposed to be. And if you know what the answer is supposed to be, one of those answers will, in this case, in my sort of pseudo example, D will pop up at you, will pop out to you. And so you just choose it and you get away with it. You get away with only knowing 2 out of the 4 words, and that'll be totally fine. It is normal. It is normal to get the right answer even though you only know 2 out of 4 words. Because why? Because you predicted. Yeah, so other questions. I'm going to catch up on some of these other chats that I'm very behind on. Boing, boing, boing. Wait, so if you guys have questions, just send them over, and I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. I'm just looking at some of this over here. Oh man, just more hard questions. Obama, I forget what your target score is, but I feel like you might be wasting time, because this is a really hard question, and let me think. I think you really, if you're scoring 700, you're not even gonna waste time on this one. You're going to spend 1 minute. So you're gonna spend, 20 seconds reading this. You're gonna spend 40 seconds reading it, and then realizing you're fucking confused. So then you spend another 30 seconds reading it. So that's that's like a minute and 40 already. Then you're gonna be like, holy hell. And then you're gonna make a guess, and then you're gonna move on. And if you are scoring 700 under, that's like literally you've already spent 2 minutes. Just you're done. Like you shouldn't even try, because this question is like really hard. Now, if you are scoring, how high is this? I feel like this is a, if I remember correctly, because I'm kind of just looking at it, but I feel like this is around a 750 level question. Maybe it's higher, maybe 770 level question. I can't really tell right now, just from memory. I have to actually solve it, but if you are close to like 750, then you do need to prioritize this. So it kind of depends on you, because this is like literally the Friday before this October SAT. I mean, to be frank, you don't need to learn from this question if this question is not in your league. Okay, if this question is above your league, it's out of your league, you don't need to learn this question. Just sacrifice it. And I'm telling you that right now. Be willing to sacrifice questions that you are not capable of solving within time. All right, so just have that mentality. I just realized something. I just realized I didn't even fix my text over here, so let me fix this text. October SAT. Last minute. Let's go. Let's make this ask me anything. Anyway, big disclaimer out of the way. I'll just do the thing. Percentage of non-hexagonal cells in the hives of 3 honeybee species. Average percentage of non-hexagonal cells by shape. And so we have 2.5%. And wait, what? And we have to 5 and 7-sided cells. What the heck? So 5, 7, and 8-sided cells. These are non-hexagonal cells. 5, 7, 2.5% each. 5%, 0% from 8. About, again, 4.5%. Okay, for dwarf honeybees. 4.6% maybe. 4.7% maybe. For dwarf honeybees are non-hexagonal cells. And then all these other guys, these guys, that's like barely 1%. 1% of the cells are non-hexagonal cells. So Western honeybee has very low non-hexagonal cells, whereas the other two has, like 5-ish% non-hexagonal cells. Let's go and look. What the hell is this all about? They consist mainly of hexagonal cells. Yeah. Hexagonal cells develop for non-repro workers, are for basically for incels. Just kidding. Hexagonal cells for non-reproductive workers are small. Then for eggs, then the hexagonal cells for eggs for reproductive drones, for chads. Okay, got it. So chads get bigger cells. Nice. Though the size difference varies by species. Okay, so the delta can change. Difference in cell size results in construction problem because it's hard to neatly construct when you have small cells and large cells. Yeah, obviously, because you can't make patterns out of them, right? If you have like one small hexagonal, and then a big fat hexagonal over here, then how the hell are you gonna like put the hexagonals around, right? Now the pattern doesn't match up. So you have to fill in the gaps between the sections when building a hive. So they rely on cells with more or fewer than 6 sides. So they're kind of cheating the hexagonal structure of the hive, which makes sense. So that means that basically you have to remember this little bit here. though the size difference varies by species. Guys, the size difference has to be larger here, okay? And the size difference has to be smaller here between the non-hexagonal, between the repro and non-repro hexagonal cells for these guys. So these guys, okay, have a higher inequality in cell size for the chads. Whereas the Western honeybee, that's kind of more of a communist society where even the chads have similar cell size. So that's the logical inference that you're making right there. A student studying beehive structure consults data on 3 species and concludes what? Concludes that the Western honeybee is more communist. They're pinkos. Why? Because the cell size has a smaller construction problem for the Western honeybee, the cell size delta, okay? So that's basically that. If you didn't understand what I just said, even though I literally explained it to you, dude, this is not your question to get correct. You need to sacrifice this question tomorrow. If you don't understand when I say delta, when I'm comparing the delta of the cell size for the chads versus the incels for the Western honeybee versus the chads versus the incels for the dwarf honeybee versus the black dwarf honeybee, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, dude, this question, you're not going to get it right. You're definitely not going to get it right tomorrow within the time limit. So let it go. This is not your question to get correct. But if you did understand, right, with the help of an actual teacher, right, doing this metaphor and this analogy and explaining it all to you, and you could understand it, then maybe you're scoring in like the 710, 720 range. Maybe you're scoring 700 range, maybe even 690 range because you just vibe with my explanations, right? All right, now maybe this question is one that you could actually get correct tomorrow, maybe, but I would still not prioritize it too much because the fact is you actually needed my help in order to understand this passage, in which case it's pretty unlikely that you were going to be able to get it right tomorrow on your own anyway. So again, you would still not prioritize this question. Who should prioritize this question? People who should prioritize this question are people who almost understood it on their own, right? Who almost understood the connection between the delta between the chads and the incels, the delta of the cell size between the chads and the incels, and the three different species, and how these are proportions of non-hexagonal out of a mostly hexagonal superstructure. Like, you have to have all of that shit in your head at once. That's crazy, dude. And if you are not scoring, I'm telling you, if you're not scoring like 750, or I think it's within striking range if you're hitting 730, but like it's hard to understand. Okay, so then you look at this and you're like, well, let me actually go for it. So my prediction was what? My prediction was the Western honeybee is more commie. So which one's the Western honeybee? Nope. Western honeybee probably relies on many. He's probably slightly lower in the Western honeybee. There we go. Western honeybee. The percentage of hexagonal cells is lower. No, that's backwards. It should be higher. That's backwards. So now I'm slowly looking at this again. Cells for worker eggs are probably closer in size. There we go. The Western honeybee. There we go. We got our Western honeybee, and we have a smaller delta right here. Smaller delta between the incels and the chads. Yeah, and this is A. That is my match. I actually realized I completely skipped this because I didn't see the Western honeybee then. If I had seen the Western honeybee then I would have slowed down on this one, but I didn't slow down on this one. Anyway, so A is my perfect match. I didn't even look at B because this says both Western and Black Dwarf, which is already a waste of time. Like, I would only read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words here and I'll be done. You need to, yeah. Good luck, dude. I think you should pray to your God because I don't think I have the solution for you. But maybe you could kind of like inshallah it. Maybe you can just sort of Hail Mary it and try to use the predictive match strategy that I always talk about. But 100-point increase in one day, very, very unlikely. You need to, the thing about 100-point increase is you guys look at all the kids on Reddit who made like 100-point increases, but the problem is that those are the kids that were already supposed to have higher scores in the first place, but they only got shitty scores because they didn't know what the SAT was about, right? They didn't really prepare for the SAT at all. So you can't really use those kids as a basis for like as a good model of how your growth will actually look. I mean, maybe you're one of those kids who are overpowered, but yeah, probably not it. Probably not it. Now I'm looking at this chat over here because I'm done, I think, with all the other chats. But okay is saying yeah. I mean, remember that to get from 6:30 to 7:30, right? From 6:30. Why is my cat like tripping? Give me a sec. Let me deal with my cat. All right. Kore, do you have something to say? Hey guys, good luck on the October SAT. All right, thank you, Kore. I was trying to say something. Yes, 6:30. Well, guess what? What number is between 6:30 and 7:30? 650? 670? The thing is, for you to go from a 6:30 to a 7:30, you actually need to also hit 640 and 650 and 660 and 670 and 680. But you might not see yourself hitting all those numbers because that depends on how many tests you're actually taking. But the thing is that there are certain questions that are 640 rated, and there are certain questions that are 650 rated, and certain questions that are 660 rated, right? There's like questions at various difficulty levels, right? So what you need to do as somebody who's getting 630 is you need to be able to be like, well, I need to also, like, let's say you kind of like wing it, right? And you get all the easy questions out of the way in 20 minutes. So you have 12 minutes left, okay? You have 12 minutes left. Now with the 12 minutes left and you have the easy questions out of the way, now the goal is, well, shit, I think I got my 630 by now. Well, I guess the goal now is with 12 minutes, I should at least try to get a 640, and then you try to get a 640 by getting the 640 level question. But now you still have 11 minutes left. So what do you do next? Oh shit, I guess I have 11 minutes left. Well, I better get a 650 now, and you try to get the 650 level question. And then you try to get the 660 level question and 670 level question, and maybe let's say your natural limit is around 690, right? Your natural limit is around 690, so maybe you actually get the 690 level question, but it takes you a lot of time. So now after you get the 690 level question, maybe you only have 15 seconds left. Hey, then that's actually your score. That's what you should be getting, right? That's with the grammar that you know, with the vocab that you know, with the reading comprehension skills that you have, with the rhetorical analysis skills that you have, right? With the ability to parse, right? That maybe 690 is what you deserve, right? The journey from a 630 to a 730 demands that you go through those questions, and you have to get those questions right. So, if you got a 630 yesterday and you want a 730 tomorrow, my soft goal for you is get the 630 first, then get the 650 next, and then get the 680 next, and crawl your way up as close to 730 as possible. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do that by sacrificing the hard questions, the questions that are not your level, okay? Because imagine scenario B. Scenario B is you kind of winged it. You dealt with all the easy questions in 20 minutes. You have 12 minutes left over because you're just sort of like gleefully skipping through the hard questions. And now you're like, well, shit, I have 12 minutes left. Let me try to solve the hardest question. Well, fuck, you spent like 2.5 minutes, okay, on the hardest question. And you're like, I have no idea what this is even saying. Now you have 9.5 minutes left. And you're like, well, let me try the second hardest question. And then you spend 2.5 more minutes on the second hardest question. And now you have like 7 minutes left. It's like, well, shit. I spent 5 minutes, and these two questions that I spent 5 minutes on, I don't know what the answer is. What a awful use of your time, right? Why are you focusing on the hardest questions? Why are you trying to jump from 630 to 800? It makes no fucking sense, right? You're just wasting time. Like, even if you had unlimited time, you're still not going to get it right because they're too far above your level, right? Just drop those questions. Drop those questions. From the 630, I know there's no sign, right? There's no magical sign that tells you, oh, hey, okay, question 12 is the 740 level. Question 12 is the 640 level question, and then question 7 is the 650 level question. Like, there's no sign for that, right? So you kind of have to feel it out. But you know which questions are more manageable and which questions are kind of like barely manageable, and then which ones are just totally unmanageable. You know which ones those are. So get all the ones that are manageable. Make sure that you fully nail all the ones that are within your level. Yeah. So that's my sort of rant about how to prioritize the questions. Let me go back to Sitka first, and then maybe I'll come back to OK. But by the way, guys, you guys don't have to. Hey, little shy guys, if you have a question, you don't have to wait until I'm done talking. You can just keep chatting with each other, and then I will just look at the last question that I see that I think is interesting, and I'll respond to that, okay? It's okay if your question starts getting like, what do you call it? If your question starts kind of like getting, if it's so far up that it gets hidden, then yeah, you can repost your question. It's fine. So anyway, we were looking at Sitka. Sitka is saying advice on fictional. I mean, thou, thee just means you. Hadst just means had. St is for st is the conjugation for the thee and the thou. So thou means you, and thee means you, and thy means your, and thine means yours. Okay, so for that conjugation, you're gonna use the st. So the st is the verb ending for the thous. Thou hadst no idea that I loved thee. How could thou beest, or how couldst thou be such a fool, right? It's just a conjugation for the thou, and honestly, that's not the hard part. The hard part is more like some of the other vocabulary, like ere, E-R-E, which I don't know, for the love of God, I can take like 1,000 students and give them a passage where the word ere shows up, E-R-E, and literally like 973 of them will never look up the word ere in a dictionary. It's not even hard. Just look it up. E-R-E. What does that mean? It's like you've seen it like 12 times. Just look up the fucking word, right? E-R-E. What does it mean? Anyway, it means before. Okay, so long ere I found thee, would be long ere I found thee, wiping thy ass on a broken toilet. Okay, it just means long before I found you wiping your ass on a broken toilet. That's what that means. Just look up the word air. I don't know why 973 students out of 1,000 literally just never look it up. Just look it up, bros. It's not that hard. ERE, right? It's just, but words like that. It's gonna be. Those are the words that are going to mess you up, because those are kind of the joint words, right? The before, the after, the hence, the whither, the thither, right? All those connection words, right? Those are really important to know. Wedge is saying, not nervous at all. We're going to die with nothing. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah. We're all going to die, guys. So, do some things that you enjoy, and and maybe you actually enjoy the SAT, right? Right. You enjoy the SAT. So tomorrow you're going there because you want to. And you're going to enjoy it. Because of course you are. You've been enjoying it this whole time. You love vocabulary. You love grammar. You love looking at sentences and getting lost in all its intricacies, in all those little positives and dangling modifiers and subordinate clauses and relative clauses. And you're just digging and digging and digging. You're looking for that verb. You love that. You're defined by the pursuit of the verb and matching it to the subject. It is a passion of yours. You enjoy it. So that's why you're taking the SAT. It's not because of college. It's not because your parents are unhappy with your score from the September SAT. It's because you want to be there. So you're going to do the SAT tomorrow because you wanted to. And then you're going to die. And you're going to die because you're going to die happy knowing that you lived a life that you wanted to live. Because you chose to live that life. Siddhika is saying, I just want to make sure I hone my comprehension. Generally speaking, how do you improve your reading comprehension? You look for transitions in the passage. You try to figure out the relationships between the different parts of the passage. And then when you are second guessing yourself, you make sure to defend every part of your answer choices. Whenever you're looking at answer choice, you're trying to make sure that all parts of the answer choice can be, defended with evidence. So make sure you look for evidence in the passage, and that will help you build confidence in your answer choices. So that's my general answer to, and by the way, this is just, everything I'm saying is true. If you just do it, you will succeed. But the problem with your question is that your question is a general question for all for all hard questions. And the thing that I keep going back to in today's stream is how you actually need to prioritize the questions. Exactly. That's the problem, right? But that's the thing. You do need to add 30 seconds to each question. But not for all questions. You need to add 30 seconds to each question that's within your league. You need to sacrifice the questions that are not in your league, right? There are some questions that are beyond your league, that are out of your league, right? You need to sacrifice those questions, and you actually need to be less time efficient on maybe question 9 and 7 and 11 and 14, but maybe you just need to drop questions 12 and 13, right? It's not about, guys, you think spending time is the input, right? Spending time is not the output, okay? Spending time isn't just some loss. Time is the thing that you invest into a question, and what do you get out of it? You get out your confidence in that answer, right? So it's not every 30 seconds is equal. Sometimes you spend 30 seconds and it was time well spent. Sometimes you spend 30 seconds and that was time very shittily spent. And you have to be able to distinguish between the two. And I'm telling you, there are some questions where you can spend 30 seconds, you can spend 20 seconds, you can spend 10 seconds, you can spend 5 seconds, and it will still be a shittily spent 5 seconds compared to the 30 seconds that you should have spent on a different question. So not all 30 seconds are the same. You got to get this in your head tomorrow. Like, you cannot assume that you're just losing time all the time. No, you're not losing time all the time. You're losing confidence all the time because you're misallocating your time to all the hardest questions. Okay? All right, by the way, this rant, dude, I've been already online for like 50 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna have to go soon because I do have another stream in the morning, and then I have another class in the morning. So guys, last call for questions. If you have any other further questions, I'm gonna wrap it up now. So let me know your final questions. Here we go. All right, back to chat. All right, last call for questions, and I'm just seeing what's out over here. How to approach graph questions. One prep. Okay. Yes. So I'm just gonna ask. I'm gonna talk about the data analysis questions. Data analysis questions. It's actually not that complicated, guys. This was a data question. I'll just come back to it. Guys, when a student, okay, is now this is actually a hard question, but basically when you're trying to support a hypothesis, there's usually a hypothesis here, and you're supporting it or whatever, all you need to do is you need to go and look at the data here that supports the hypothesis. But usually what kids do is they don't look at the data first. They look at the answer choices first, and they try to see if A is true, and then they try to see if B is true, and then they try to see if C is true, and then they try to see if D is true, and then they're going to be like, wait, but then A and B and C are true. And then they have to reread the whole fucking passage, and it just becomes a complete mess. It's really bad, okay? Really bad. Data questions you can easily save 1 minute, 2 minutes sometimes, just on one question. Okay, I'm going to say that again because some people don't really believe it, but I've measured it. Okay, you can sometimes save up to 2 minutes compared to the kid that's sitting next to you. You can save 2 minutes compared to the kid that's sitting next to you just by doing this. You read this claim, and then you try to support it with this evidence, instead of going straight to the answer choices. And just that one move, okay, just that prediction move is going to make you so much better on data questions. All right, so That's it for me. I'm going to have to go. Guys, good luck on the SATs tomorrow, the October SAT tomorrow. If you want to know how to solve questions using the same techniques that I use in my YouTube streams, I do have a course over here, blah, that 43 people have enrolled in so far. And I actually just read a post about it, but basically a lot of people have been asking comments, like how I'm actually doing this, how I'm actually doing that. But I actually have a whole course where I explain step by step what I'm doing at any given moment. And compared to other teachers, I think you'll notice that the big difference is that I talk about what you're supposed to do in literally in the moment. Okay, not like afterwards when you're just analyzing the passage and sort of in a rarefied environment where you have unlimited time. I'm talking about what you're supposed to think in that moment, what you're supposed to look at in that moment. And so that's a big emphasis in my course. And that's where the predictive math strategy comes out, because I'm talking about what you're supposed to do in the moment. And I just think a lot of teachers just don't even get into that level of detail. I don't know why. So if you want to know what I'm actually doing, and if you want to know the techniques and you want to have the same language, then yeah, go ahead, sign up for the course. If you're smart enough to figure it out on your own, then yeah, just watch my YouTube videos and that'll be good. But either way, guys, hit the like button. Press the subscribe button, drop comments, and just engage with the channel. It helps me a lot as I grow. Because I'm just not a very good marketer. I'm not a very good YouTuber. But with your help, this little mini business that I'm building could become much more successful, and I can reach more people that need the help. So, guys, I'd appreciate it if you can do that for me. And hey, until next time, keep on learning, keep on growing. Good luck on the October SAT, guys. Peace.